The red light on the camera stares at me like a dare. Their logo floods the ballroom screens. Applause rolls. I lay Marcus's leather portfolio flat on the linen and slide my thumb to the edge of my phone. The first notice waits under my fingertip. One press, and their pipeline freezes. One press, and the room turns. The presenter smiles through a script he didn't write. He says their name with my evidence 3 inches from his microphone. I don't breathe. I count to 3 against the tablecloth seam. The portfolio smells like graphite and old paper. The hinge of the podium squeaks on the "thank you." A partner in the 3rd row checks his watch, then me, then the watch again. My phone vibrates once. Lila's subject line fills the lock screen. Slide is loaded. Your call. I lift the portfolio an inch. The ballroom spotlights skim its cracked spine. My thumb hovers. The notice is ready. Exhibit numbers lined up like teeth. Timestamps sharp as pins. He reads the method they stole as if it were born in their boardroom. The camera tilts to catch me in the same frame as their praise. My pulse lands in the pocket of silence before the following sentence. I can stop the show now. Or let them finish and trap every word on record. You want to watch what I choose? Hit subscribe. Don't miss the next move. I'm Harold, 55. Attorney. I prefer paper cuts to shouting. I set my pen on the crease of a legal pad so it won't roll. The pad is yellow, so I can see every correction I make. Marcus stands in the doorway with the portfolio that has followed him through half the skyline. Worn leather, cracked spine, brass corners dull as old coins. He closes the door behind him without a sound. He is 68. His tie is straight. His hands are steady because he has already chosen his lane. I slide a blotter under his coat to catch the runoff. The rain beads on the wool and gathers at the cuff. He sets the portfolio on the desk. The weight dents the pad beneath it. When the buckles open, the room exhales. Onion skin, graphite, the glue of old bindings. No speeches. We work. He lifts the first plan sheet by the edges with 2 fingers. The sheet whispers over the leather like a match starting. I hold the registration page under the lamp and tilt it until the seal glows through the fiber. Date, serial, signature. I lay it beside a printout of the firm's deck with their logo stamped over the same geometry. I line the edges. I want the corners to meet. Rain ticks. The building's elevator grinds somewhere below. A low belt hums through the wall. I note it without looking up. I copy a caption in clean block letters. Method A, load transfer variation, registered to M. Aldridge. The coffee ring circles the first draft like a target I already hit. I keep dialogue off the table. He knows why he is here. I know what to do with it. I staple exhibits A through D into a thin stack and trim the staples flat so they won't snag. My thumb finds the nick in the desk where a client once slammed a brief. I leave it alone. That scar keeps me honest. Marcus passes me a photo of a beam core during pour. Rebar grid. Chalk marks. A hand in the corner holding a level. The level bubble sits dead center. I write the date from the back in the margin and slide the photo into a sleeve. The rain shifts to a softer run. The office heater clicks on with a slow metal stretch. Paper edges settle. I turn the desk clock so the face is toward me, not him. I do not want him timing me. I want him to see only my hands and the page. I am not a crusader. I am a custodian. Names belong where work was done. My job is to place them there and bolt them down. I put a fresh page on the pad and print a heading, authorship chain. Then I stack it, draft, field sketch, revision cloud, registered method, built photo, invoice. Each arrow is a small black triangle with a sharp point toward the following proof. I recheck the firm's deck. Their slide titles are tidy, their footers are lazy. A junior forgot to strip the source field. It reads G. Aldridge methods G. working. I circle it once with no flare, then add Exhibit K in the top right corner. I feel the portfolio under my forearms like a second desk. The leather is warm from his coat. When I move my arms, the smell of graphite lifts again, bright and clean. The rain deepens, and the elevator hum returns, a rise and fall like someone holding a door open in the lobby. I pick up my phone and set its screen down on the blotter. Not a warning, a reminder. There will be a time for the send button. It is not this minute. Marcus's hands rest, palms flat on the desk edge. The skin at his knuckles is creased like the corners of an old book. He does not fidget. He reads the top line of each label as I write it. When I reach for a binder tab, he shifts the portfolio an inch so I have space. We do not waste motion. I print Notice 1, Project, Harbor East Tower, Claim, Unauthorized Use of Registered Method A. I underline once. I attach Exhibits A through F. I breathe out through my nose and test the bind. It holds. The heater clicks off. The room cools by a degree I can feel in my fingers. The rain lightens to a patter, then returns, steady as a tape measure rolling back into its case. I open a drawer and remove a key ring with 3 brass keys, one for the records cabinet, one for the safe, one that no longer opens anything I keep. I put the 3rd key on the blotter and leave it there like a question I will not answer yet. I press my thumb along the draft's left margin until the skin reddens. Then I lift the page and smooth it over the portfolio's spine so the crease remembers the bend. I am done with the first stack. I set it aside and start the second. If a name was stripped from the work that built your city, would you fix it with noise or with edges that meet? I switch pens. Fine tip now for the callouts. I mark the deck's slide numbers where their language matches his notes word for word. I keep the phrasing out of quotation marks. I want structure, not performance. The camera in my head is already taking close-ups. The seal under the lamp, the ghost watermark, the dull shine on the staple backs. I check the time and turn the clock face away again. A beep from the hall. Someone rides the elevator up and down without stepping off. The belt hums, slides, stops, slides again. I picture a partner from Wilson and Hayes walking circles in a lobby, phone to his ear, voice low, hunting for a story that will hold. The image is useful. I set it aside for later. I print Notice 2, Project, Stone Ridge Annex, Claim, Unauthorized Use of Registered Method B, Exhibits G through L. I added the junior's memo to this set. The memo's subject line is careless. Rebrand old man's method before PR week. I do not react. I staple and trim flat. Marcus touches the edge of the memo with one finger, then lifts his hand like the paper is hot. He does not need to say anything. The rain does the talking for him, steady and plain. I slide a fresh sleeve onto the desk. The plastic clings to the page and then releases with a tiny pop. I smooth the air pockets with the side of my hand until the page lies flat and clean. I label the sleeve with a black tab. K. I crack the window 1 inch. City air slips in, cold and metal. The room resets. I can hear the traffic like white noise under the rain. I close the window again and lock it. I take the 3rd key from the blotter and drop it into the drawer. Not yet. I gather both stacks, square the corners with 2 taps on the desk, and set them in the out tray. The tray dips, then holds. I place the portfolio on top, just for a second, to feel the full weight of the work. The elevator hum stops. Silence clicks into place. When the proof is this clean, do you want the correction whispered or read into a microphone? Lila's email lands with 3 attachments and 1 line of body text. Use their own settings against them. I drag the decks into a clean folder on my desktop, then duplicate them, working copies and originals. I want a chain I can swear by. The portfolio stays open, with the weight holding the blotter in place. I open Deck 001. I don't start with the slides. I go straight to File, Info, Author, W&H Studio Admin. Last modified by, initials I recognize from a partner's letterhead. Company, pre-filled with their firm name. Template path, WWHA, Marcus Aldridge. Methods, working ou launch de diverse week. They didn't even rename the folder that matters. Slide Notes tab, a junior left breadcrumb. Shortcuts to old file names. Use Marcus detail. Keep load icon. Don't credit in title. I photograph the screen. Then export the notes as a timestamp text file. I number it, exhibit in, and print to PDF so they can't fix typos after the fact. I open the Advanced Properties panel and scroll. Created 10:14 a.m. 6 months ago. Last saved 7:42 p.m., 2 weeks before they restructured him. Total editing time 19th hour 136 minutes. I match the created date to Marcus's registration certificate on my desk. The seal reflects the desk lamp. The dates line up like rails. I check the Custom tab. A hidden field named Credit Override toggled to True. Someone wrote that on purpose. I screenshot, print, and add it to Exhibit O. The printer chatters, then stills. The page comes out warm. I slide it into a sleeve before the paper cools. No curl. Deck 02 opens, new masthead, old bones. Their taglines are tidy. Our method informs efficiency. I don't care about the sentence. I care about the master slide. The alt text on a diagram uses the name Marcus wrote 15 years ago. Alt text isn't on the screen unless you look for it. I look. I export the master as an image with the alt text overlay. Exhibit P. I pull the XMP packet from their exported PDF, metadata they thought flattened. It didn't. The XMP lists document ancestors, 4 file names, all tagged with Marcus Aldridge, the same chain I stacked in Beat 2. I paste the XMP into a plain text file, hash it with a checksum, and staple the hash to the front. Exhibit Q. My pen taps the staple once before I trim it flat. Deck 03 smells like panic, slides duplicated, titles changed, a last-minute font swap to force reflow. The fonts panel shows a custom set attributed to Apex Reference. They stole the look to bury the source. The font's internal copyright notice still reads Aldridge Reference v3. Fonts carry their own signatures. I snapshot the font properties in print. Exhibit R. Rain thickens on the window. In the glass, I can see the desk lamp doubling my hands as they move. I don't stop to explain anything to the air. I line things up. I open their export settings. They exported with Create Tagged PDF checked. Good. In the tags, a figure label reads Method A Load Transfer Variation Aldridge. That label never made it to the slide title. It lived only where they thought no one would read. I read it. I pull tags to XML, Exhibit S. In the version history, the cloud audit shows that someone renamed the file 2 days before the awards dinner. Same initials as last modified by. The comment, scrub credit from headline, legal review later. Later never came. I print the version log with timestamps and IP address blocks. I annotate the ranges that belong to their office floor, Exhibit T. I underline the word scrub once, not for flair, for the record. I go back to the registration certificate. The seal under the lamp leaks a faint watermark across the table. I tilt it so the mark disappears. Then I bring it back. I want to feel the moment the proof either lives or dies. It lives. If the name you earned is buried in tags and tooltips, how loud should the correction be when you bring it to light? The email pings again. Lila. Check the print spooler logs. I pull the deck's print dialog and look at the default queue. WHA floor 17 color 03. I reach for the cabinet key. open the records drawer, and retrieve a prior subpoena returned from another case, a log of every document printed by that device last quarter. Their decks appear 6 times. I match job IDs by minute. They printed the theft, framed it, and handed it to sponsors. I clip the page and slide it behind Exhibit T. Same pen, same underline pressure. No smears. I return to file, info, related people. A name I don't expect. A consultant who left the firm last year for Apex. Their fingerprints are under the early versions, then vanished the week he resigned. The gap tells its own story. The method walked with its maker. They kept photocopies and tried to pass them as originals. I open the media folder inside the deck package and pull the embedded thumbnail. I run a hash on it and compare it to Marcus's original plan preview, saved in my archive from a decade ago. The hashes match. They didn't redraw. They rebranded. I scan hidden slides. One shows the original title before the scrub. The word Aldridge is struck through in red and replaced by Studio Process. I export the slide with track changes visible. I add it to Exhibit U. The printer warms the paper again. The range shifts to a flatter sound, as if the wind had changed direction. Phone buzz. Lila. Board chair wants a quiet call, holds 0 leverage. I don't answer. I drag a rectangle around the evidence stack on my desk. Certificates, logs, XMP, alt text, version history, spooler matches, hidden slides. The edges meet. The pattern is plain. I slide the portfolio lid under the sleeves to lift them as a single piece. The leather groans once. I write one sentence in block letters across a blank page and put it on top. They knew who wrote it. No adjectives. Just the thing that will carry in a room full of microphones. I slide Notice 1 and Notice 2 from the out tray back under my hand and add a third header. Notice 3. Project. River Quay. Claim. Unauthorized use of registered method C. I move 3 exhibits from the fresh stack and staple. Trim flat. Press the staple legs with the back of the pen until they lie dead even. The elevator hum returns, then stops on my floor. I hear nobody knock. Good. I prefer the sound of paper settling to a door opening. I pull a slim labeler from the drawer and mark the spine of a red binder. W&H, credit theft, evidence, live. The label sticks on the second try. I smooth the bubble with my thumb. The edge of the coffee ring brushes my wrist as I slide the binder across the blotter. I leave the stain where it is. It frames the word evidence like a thin halo. I open my phone and draft the opening paragraph of each notice. No heat, only dates and file names. I insert the exhibits by letter. I do not argue motive. I don't need to. The metadata argues fine. I set the phone face down again and let my hand rest on the portfolio for a full breath. Marcus sits across from me, quiet, watching the stack grow taller than the cup. When the metadata says your name, do you want mercy from the stage? Or the record corrected where everyone can hear it? The elevator dings. Doors open to the hall like a held breath letting go. I press the down arrow and slide a brass key from my drawer into my front pocket. The metal is warm from my palm. It used to open a records room 3 doors over. Now it opens nothing I need. I keep it anyway. Weight reminds you what matters. Doors close. Stainless walls throw my face back at me in a dull blur. Rain drums on the car's roof in a tight pattern. I ride with the portfolio against my ribs and the red binder under my arm. I count floors by the panel lights. 12, 11, 10. I use the descent to write in my head. Caption, parties. Claimant, Marcus Aldridge, sole author of Methods A, B, C. Respondent, Wilson and Hayes Architecture, using Methods A, B, C without license. Caption, jurisdiction, contract venue where the projects sit. Copyright subject to federal claim. Paragraph 1, facts by date, registration numbers, first use, public presentation, paragraph 2, evidence table, Dec 01 info, alt text lines, XMP packets, print logs, version history, paragraph 3, demand, cease construction acts tied to the methods, pull marketing, deliver accounting, relief, license on our schedule or stop work, fees, costs. Notice that further steps are queued. The car jolts gently at the lobby. The doors part. The building breathes out people with umbrellas like small satellites. I step into the lobby and cross the tile that always shines, even in the rain. The air tastes like wet concrete and elevator oil. Security nods. I nod back. We do not waste words. Outside, steam climbs from a street grate in a white column. Umbrellas bump shoulders and slip past like schools of fish. I tuck the binder tight and pull the portfolio closer to my chest. Water streaks the leather. It looks darker and more alive when it is wet. I move under an awning and hold for light. I do not hurry. The work is already done. All I need now is the room and the clock. I read the street like a plan. Cabs anchor the corners. A courier cuts through the crosswalk with a tube on his back. I let the scene etch into my head. The awards ballroom is 14 blocks south and 3 over. The courthouse is 10 blocks north. Apex sits between them like a hinge. I walk. The key in my pocket clicks against a coin with each step. Sound marks the beat. I pull my phone and review the first notice. The body is a clean column, no adjectives. The exhibits will carry the tone I need. I drop in the letter tags. A, B, C, K, N, O. The letters look like a spine. I plan where the spine will flex when the lights hit it. I stop under a scaffolding run and watch water rivulets thread from plank to plank, city breath. I think through service, registered agent, backup address, board chair for direct notice, sponsors for collateral notice. The stage crew will see the corrected slide before dessert. All routes end in the same room. When you leave the office with the proof under your arm, do you walk fast to swing or slow so the blow lands in the most oversized room? I reach the corner where the cross street always eats umbrellas. Wind twists the canopy on its poles. A taxi washes my shoes with a low sheet of street water. I don't break stride. I carry the binder high and dry. A man under the next awning swears at the sky and shakes his jacket. I keep moving until the noise fades behind me. A bus hisses at the curb. The doors sigh open. I let it go. I want the walk. The rhythm sharpens the outline. Relief clauses fold clean when your breath is measured. I revise in my head. Addendum. 36-hour window for response. Addendum. If you claim independent origin, produce source files with intact version history and spooler logs. Addendum. Failure to comply triggers an emergency motion. We are prepared to seek an injunction on active pores by the docket close. I pass a glass storefront that throws the rain back at me in angles. In the reflection, the red binder reads, "Evidence like a billboard cut to size." I tighten my grip and move. A cyclist whistles once and darts between stalled sedans. Horns layer into a steady bleat. The city speaks in 2 notes today: rain and impatience. Good. Both keep people honest. I slip into a narrow deli and step to the counter. No line. I order a small black coffee and stand at the pickup ledge, shoulder against a refrigerator humming low. The heat from the urn fogs my glasses at the edges. The paper cup lands with a soft thud. I tear the lid seam a fraction to vent steam and set the cup down on a napkin. The cup leaves a ring shaped like the one on my draft. The echo pleases me. Marks should repeat. That is how you know you are still on your line. I pull the brass key from my pocket and set it next to the cup for one breath. It looks like a relic on a small altar. I close my hand around it again and pocket it. Not yet. I text Lila 2 words. Walking in. She replies with 3. Teleprompter feed stable. I pocket the phone. The coffee warms the web of my hand. I take one careful sip, then cap it and move. Back outside, the rain chooses a new angle. The wind slides into the avenue and drives water under the awnings. I step into the flow and let it hit my cheek. The portfolio drinks and darkens. The binder stays dry. I adjust my pace to land at the ballroom doors when the script turns to credit lines. Timing is not drama. Timing is math. I pass a construction site where sheeted scaffolding shakes and the crane hook swings slowly like a metronome. A worker locks the chain and thumbs his phone. The clack of the chain teeth rings down the block. Keys and teeth. Locks and lift points. Everything I need is in the city if I want to see it. I stop at a red light 2 blocks from the venue. The marquee glows damp. A loading van idles at the curb with the back doors open. Crew in black carry cases through puddles. One case lid yawns for a moment. Inside, a coil of cable sleeps like a heavy rope. I make a note to stand where the podium mic can catch my binder if I set it down. The sound of a binder on wood travels. Green. I cross with the crowd. The brass key taps my thigh with each step. It feels like a small heartbeat that isn't mine. If the room is ready and the script is wrong, do you enter through the front with your binder or slip in by the side door and let the microphones find you? City archives run cool even in the rain. Concrete ribs. Fluorescent hum. The clerk slides a crate across the counter and leaves us to the dust. I lower my voice and set the red binder on a metal table that rocks once, then settles. Lila slips on cotton gloves without looking at me. She knows why we are here. I say it anyway, quiet enough to keep it ours. He gave. They took. We count. I pull plan set 2009-14. Folded onion skin, pencil ghosts, a coffee drip that bloomed and dried before the ink. First chain link, draft, corner stamp, M. Aldridge. I log the sheet number, lens a date with my phone and move it left. Next folder, field revision. Red clouds over a sheer wall, a notation in graphite that matches his hand from a decade of letters. Lila lines a clear ruler to show the shift in load paths. I take the photo. She reads the initials by the cloud. MA in small block print, same pressure as the registration forms. Second link. We lift a built photo from a contractor packet. Wet concrete. Chalk ticks on rebar. A glove cuff with a stitched letter A, not a logo, just a mark a man sews into his own work shirts. Third link. The invoice copy lives under a cover sheet that still smells of toner. Line item. Consulting. Method A application. Payable to the firm, not the man. The number is lower than it should be. The signature at the bottom is not his fourth link. I stack the 4 in a clean run, left to right. Draft, revision, photo, invoice. A city gains a floor when that line holds. A name loses ground when that line gets bent. We move to the following method. B series. The clerk did not bother to organize the subfolders. It helps me. Chaos shows habit. Lila flips out a permit addendum that cites prior in-house method. There is no in-house method. The addendum mistakenly borrows his title. The kerning gives it away. She doesn't smile. She holds it so I can shoot the angle where the borrowed title sits wrong on the page. I log the routing slips. 10 names. He never appears. The firm spoke with itself and billed the city for a solution it did not author. We add the slips to the chain, not as proof of craft, but evidence of habit. Theft works best when filtered through routine. I open a binder that looks new. Someone tried to make the past read clean. The tabs are color-coded. The font is recent. A summary page recites the house story. A footnote cites a legacy contributor. That phrase does not weigh a claim. It is a curtain word. I press 2 fingers over it until the paper warms and the ink dulls. Then I copy the line into our notes and mark it for the podium correction. The room will hear that phrase before it hears our exhibits. I will make sure the room hears both. We build the second chain. Draft, revision, built photo, invoice. A repeat. Repeats are my favorite kind of proof. Repeats strip luck out of a story and leave only choice. Lila leans on the edge of the table and reads my labels under her breath to check for errors. Her eyes snag on one number. She taps once. I fix it without speaking. She places a pink flag on the folder where the firm first used studio process in place of his name. The date on the flag matches the week they pitched a sponsor. The sponsor's letter sits in my case file. The sponsor repeats the exact phrase. Echoes everywhere once you tune into them. We close the crate with the chain squared and the photos backed up twice. I sign the retrieval log. Lila signs the return. The clerk stamps the time. Ink thuds through the counter like a small gavel. We walk out with nothing that belongs to the city. We carry only images and numbers and the rhythm of 4 links in a row. On the sidewalk, rain rinses the dust from our sleeves. I slide the red binder under my coat and feel the portfolio against my ribs again. Draft, revision, photo, invoice. 4 beats that can move a crowd without raising a voice. When the chain holds, draft to revision, to photo to invoice. Do you settle it quietly in a back office or carry it to the room where they practice the lie? Apex Conference Room holds its light like a drafting table. Glass, clean edges, no trophies. Lila keys the wall screen and leaves it dark. We do not need slides. Marcus stands at the long table and unrolls a plan, a quarter turn. His finger follows a load path across the sheet. He stops over the transfer detail he drew years ago. He taps once where the note should live. He does not ask. He states the rule. Put the name back. I set the red binder next to the plan and flip the clasp. The leather answers with a soft groan. I place notice 1 to 3 in a neat fan. The headers face him, not me. Claim. Evidence. Remedy. I speak low so the room keeps still. Proper credit on drawings. Proper credit on site boards. Proper credit on reels. License retroactive to the first unlicensed use. Accounting within 30 days. Halt steps cued if they test the fence. Marcus rolls the plan to the edge and checks the title block. The block reads, Apex now. The method call-out is blank. He slides a pencil from his pocket and writes his last name where the blank waits. The letters are plain. They land like a stamp. He erases the pencil mark, leaving the space clean for production to fill. This is a rehearsal for a change of habit, not a flourish. Lila lays a short stack of blank author stamps beside the plan. She has already called the repro house. New plates are ready when we say go. She sets a silver plan tube by the chair. The cap threads on and clicks tight. The sound is a lock turning in a quiet hall. I put the brass key from my pocket on the table. Not as a symbol, as a reminder. Access is earned. It can be removed. I slide the key across the table until it touches the plan tube and stops. 2 metals meet, no noise. A point made. Terms in order. License at a fair rate that respects the origin. Credits repaired across all live materials. A letter to sponsors before the weekend stating the correction. A public line at the awards dinner. If they want to save their schedule, they should read that line tonight. If not, we'll let the filing speak by morning. Marcus retraces the path from column to column. His hand does not shake. He closes the tube and taps the cap with 2 fingers. He looks at the empty author line and then at me. I nod once. The line is not empty anymore. We will make sure of it. I write a single sentence on a yellow pad and tear the page clean. No build without the author stamped. I place the page on top of the notices. I do not underline it. The plan tube clicks once more, the cap tightening a hair. That sound is the only underline we need. We do not toast. We do not shake hands. We stack the work. Lila takes the stamps to production. Marcus lifts the plan tube. I take the binder. The room stays bright and quiet. The rule remains on the table even after we leave. If the blank where your name should live is finally open, do you wait for their courtesy, or do you stamp it first and make them follow? I sit at the spare workstation outside Apex Production, where the network is clean and the clock is honest. The red binder opens to the index. I draft 3 notices in parallel, not serially. Copy blocks locked. Variables swap by field. Notice 1, Harbor East Tower. Caption tight, parties fixed. I paste the chain, Reggie, no. TX7104221, Method A. First deposit date aligned to the certificate. I attach exhibits AF, NT. Demand, cease unlicensed use on cores 18 to 23. Pull marketing spots by midnight. Furnish accounting for all fees booked under Method A within 30 days. Propose license rate stapled to the back. Not generous, not petty. Math that stands in court. Notice 2. Stone Ridge Annex Ridge TX7208449, Method B. I wired in the alt text pool and the XMP ancestors, exhibits GL, PS, demand mirrors the first, tune to their schedule, stop pre-pour on slabs D4, D7, pull site boards with the wrong title block, replace with corrected authorship or cover them. Accounting window matches, notice 3, River QE, Reggie, TX7 3WNN992, Method C. I cite the spooler logs and the hidden slide where Aldridge is struck through. Exhibits UW demand, halt distribution of the sponsor deck, retract the press note, and circulate the corrected credit to the sponsor list. I convert each to PDF A. I embed exhibit bookmarks. I lock editing. I generate SHA-256 hashes and paste the strings at the bottom of each cover letter. I send test prints to my own queue and let them die there. The point is the record of intent, not the paper. I step through the service, registered agent, via the statutory portal. General counsel at the firm via direct email with read receipt. Board chair via personal assistant with delivery confirmation. Sponsors were blind copied with a short factual cover. Correction of authorship for building methods applied to your project. License process attached. The portal pings for uploads. I drag Notice 1. The status flips from gray to green. I drag Notice 2. Green. Notice 3 pauses, then takes. Each confirmation number goes into the log. I read them out loud once and write them again by hand on the index card taped inside the binder. I want 1 copy that the network cannot touch. The phone, face down on the desk, vibrates. A new sender, not counsel. A junior PM from Wilson and Hayes. The subject line is a plain word. Audit. The body is single-spaced and scarred. He found an internal design audit memo dated the month they pitched Method A to sponsors. The memo states what we already know and what they never meant to share. Methods AC authored by M. Aldridge. Rebrand to firm language before Q3 events. It logs a partner meeting where credit risk is discussed as a PR exposure. The junior sends the PDF and signs his name. I check the memo properties. The author is the audit lead, not the junior. The created date is clean. The document ID in the footer ties to their compliance archive. There is a routing table on page 2 with initials that matter. I print Exhibit K to PDF, lock, hash, and label it. I slot K into all 3 notices as an addendum, not a revelation. Proof should feel inevitable, not dramatic. I forward a redacted copy to Lila and add 1 line. K is live, seat belts. She replies, teleprompter correction queued if needed. I send the live packets, portal first. Email next. Courier request last, for paper service in the morning, if they pretend they did not read the email. I set the send time to now, not later. The room tonight deserves the truth on the screen and the record on the wire. The confirmations land one by one. Received 1741, received 1742, received 1744. I paste screenshots into the log. I mark the totals on the back of the index card. $200,000 across 3 projects, frozen unless they sign a license or stop work. Quiet math that tightens throats. I close the binder and press the clasp until it clicks. The sound is soft and final. I slip the brass key from my pocket, feel the notch that used to matter, and let it rest on the cover for a count of 3. Then I pocket it again. I will need a different key tonight. When the audit memo names the author and the money line locks, do you offer them a back door or make them read the correction under lights? I picture their partners doing the math with wet hands. One counts draws. One drafts an email to friends of the firm. One whispers, "We can outweight him." Their office lights hum at a pitch you only hear when you're hiding from your own printer. My inbox does not imagine. It records. Outside counsel sends a letter with hard edges. They dispute characterization and reserve all rights. No facts. No exhibits. I drop their PDF into opposition, empty, and log the timestamp. I reply with 3 lines only. Registration numbers. Exhibits by letter. License terms unchanged. The read receipt toggle appears in the corner as a small green eye. Voicemail from the board chair lands with a transcribed plea. He wants a quiet accommodation before dinner. He says the word relationship twice. He does not say Marcus's name. I save the audio and clip the waveform at the point where the voice dips. That dip will pair well with a corrected slide. I open the real library they use for Sponsor Week. Their cuts live on a vendor platform set to the public by neglect. I queued takedowns for 3 clips that carry the wrong title card. I annotate each request with registered method lines and a still frame showing the logo over his diagram. The platform asks for proof. I uploaded the XMP and the alt text capture. I do not add adjectives. I hit submit. The status flips to under review. I file the tracking links in the binder index. Lila appears in my doorway with a thin folder the color of wet slate. She sets it next to the red binder and taps once. Option agreement, she says. Executed last quarter. Escrow funded. Scope pre-cleared. I read. Apex holds options to absorb field leadership on 3 projects the moment a license triggers. Staff lists are named and boxed. Schedules aligned to salvage dates if W&H stumbles. The money sits in escrow with a bank that does not blink. The paperwork is lawful and wired. She has already notified HR to warm calls if the license hits tonight. I flip to the signature page. Dates sit in a row next to names that matter. I taped a yellow flag at the clause that ties activation to execution of author license acknowledging Marcus Aldridge as author of methods A, B, C. The trap is not a trap. It is a door that opens only if they say his name on paper. My email pings. The platform removes the first reel. The page refreshes to a gray box that reads, "Content unavailable due to rights claim." I take a screenshot with the time in the corner. I drop it into Exhibit X. The second and third follow within minutes. 3 gray boxes, 3 gaps on their sponsor page. I draft a short notice email to the dinner production team with the corrected author line and attach the license notice for context. I do not ask for permission. I tell them the credit that will prevent a scene. I call the hotel stage manager and read a line I wrote on the walk. If your slide reads studio process, replace it with registered method by Marcus Aldridge, licensed to W&H. If you cannot replace it, kill the slide. He does not like the second option. He takes the first. Outside counsel pings again. They want a call before things escalate. Things have already moved. I offer a window after dinner, on the condition that the proper author line appears at the podium. He types, stops, types, stops. The ellipsis blinks. The blinking tells me they are polling a room. I close my laptop and let the blinking burn itself out. Lila slides the option folder into my bag beside the red binder. The zipper teeth close like a chain seating into a sprocket. She looks at me and says, "If they say the line, we flip the switch. If they don't, we flip the other switch." I nod. Either way, the work lands where it belongs. I step into the hall. The elevator dings. The chime sounds higher now, as if the building is carrying less weight on its cables. I touch the brass key in my pocket, then leave it there. Not the right door anymore. Tonight needs microphones, not locks. My phone vibrates with a final notice. The sponsor liaison acknowledges receipt of the corrected credit and requests the preferred phrasing for the program leaflet. I sent it in 6 words. Registered methods by Marcus Aldridge, licensed, no flourish. The phrase reads like a gasket under load. It will not leak. Outside, rain eases to mist. The city smells like wet stone in a blown-out candle. I walk toward the ballroom lights. The portfolio rides against my ribs. The bag with the option folder balances the other shoulder. The weight is even now. When the reels go gray and the stage manager swaps the line, do you let them keep a little face? Or make the room hear the complete sentence that fixes the theft? Spotlight glare flattens faces into masks. The presenter fingers the cards, stalls on a comma, and glances at the teleprompter like it just changed languages. His throat clears into the house PA, a dry click that carries to the rafters. The big screens blink once, then twice. Their logo fades. A new line burns in. Registered methods by Marcus Aldridge, licensed. Silence first, clean and total, then a ripple of chair legs as donors shift to see who will pretend not to notice. I don't move. The red rec light on the aisle camera levels with my shoulder. On stage, the presenter steadies. He reads the sentence as written. No ad-lib. No hedge. Each word lands like a stamp. At my table, I set the leather portfolio upright against the water glass, spine toward the stage. The cracked edge catches the light, casting a thin stripe across the linen. The red binder rests under my chair, clasped forward. I place one hand on it without looking down. A partner 3 rows up turns in profile. He's the one who signed the scrub slide. His jaw sets. The side of his neck pulses. He stands before the applause finds its rhythm and angles down the aisle with a smile that doesn't touch his eyes. Palm open, head tipped just enough to sell private word. I rise, but only enough to draw the distance tight. I don't offer a hand. I lift the portfolio from the linen and set it on the aisle carpet between us, edge on, like a doorstop. He stops where he should, at the hinge. The portfolio becomes a small lock in a public hallway. Off stage, his mouth shapes without volume. I don't answer. The lobby elevator chimes, a bright note that slips under the music bed and reaches us like a cue. He hears it too. He glances toward the doors. I let the sound do the talking. On stage, the presenter leans into the line a second time, calmer now, and names the license. A camera catches Marcus at his table. He sits still, hands together, watching a room relearn a sentence it should have known. The big screen frames him with the corrected credit beneath. Behind me, 2 sponsors start clapping early, not out of kindness but relief. They won't have to pull brochures in the morning. The partner lowers his hand. He tries a tilt of the head that reads, "As mercy, if you want it to." I don't. I shift my foot half an inch and touch the portfolio with the toe of my shoe, keeping it dead center between us. He studies the leather as if it were wired. It isn't. It's heavier than it looks. Another chime from the lobby, a second car. The note is higher, like a floor clearing. The presenter thanks the room and moves on to the next award without a blink. The slide deck follows my instructions. Where they couldn't swap, they killed. Blank stage between segments. Clean. The partner steps back. The smile slides off. He smooths his tie and retreats up the aisle with his eyes on the carpet, not the screen. In the slight dip of silence before the next video cue, the house mic picks a whisper from the front row. About time. It lands 2 seats over and dies. I sit. I lay the portfolio flat again, spine away, and ease my hand off the binder. The leather is warmer now from the light and the room. I take a sip of water and place the glass on the table so the circle it leaves matches the ring on my desk. Marks should repeat. Stage hands roll a lectern off to the wing. The new slide loads without sound. My phone vibrates once. Lila. Option clock armed. I don't text back. The room already did what we needed. Credit sits where it belongs. On paper, on screens, in the air. The presenter makes a joke about rain. Laughter enters on cue, grateful for a release valve. I let it wash past and watch the aisle where the partner vanished. He'll find the board chair. They'll find counsel. Counsel will find my 3 notices, receipt stamped and alive. I slide the portfolio toward me by 2 inches and rest my fingertips on the brass corner. Not a victory pose. A reminder. Doors open, doors close. You choose which ones you stand beside when the room is looking. When the screen finally says the name and the aisle emissary stalls at your lock, do you step off stage to barter or let the mic carry the correction for you? The courthouse lobby breathes cool air and faint floor polish. Glass panes run floor to ceiling. Rain freckles the outside like soft static. The clerk slides 2 folders under the window. Settlement ink dries in quiet loops. I check signatures, seals, and wire instructions. No speeches, just pens that stop when the line ends. Marcus sits beside me on a stone bench that remembers every winter. He opens his palm. A ring of building keys spills a soft circle onto the folder I brought for him. Scholarship, return path for senior architects. Brass teeth glint against the manila. He nudges the ring forward with 1 finger. The metal scratches a shallow line in the paper that looks like a start mark. I set the leather portfolio on the bench between us. The cracked spine faces up, calm as a closed door that no longer needs watching. Lila arrives from the elevator with the red binder under her arm, flips to the last page, and circles my only typo with a thin red pen. A missing article. She grins, silent, and taps the circle. I nod and leave it. A minor flaw keeps a record human. We don't talk about the dinner or the aisle emissary. We don't have to. The corrected line now lives on paper, on screens, and in the escrow account that just accepted their first license payment. I run a fingertip over the embossed seal on the settlement copy. The paper resists, then gives. Marcus lifts the keys and divides the ring, sliding 2 onto a fresh loop he pulls from his pocket. 1 for the scholarship office, 1 for the community studio, and the fund will be rented by the river. He keeps none for the buildings that made his name. He lets those rest where they are. I watch his hands move and understand. Possession is not return. Placement is. The rain on the glass eases into lines rather than dots. A couple walks past the door with a stroller. The wheels squeak, then fade. A bailiff laughs once, far down the hall. White noise covers the last minutes of paperwork like a thin blanket. I put my card on the folder, not for contact, but for the sentence on the back, which I wrote for cases like this. Credit belongs to the maker. He reads it, breathes out through his nose once, and pockets the card without looking at the front. Lila slides a copy of the check into the scholarship file and seals it with a strip of clear tape. Air bubbles run under the strip, then press flat when she smooths them with the side of her hand. She writes a date on the tab in block letters. The numbers look like a grid that will hold. I stand. Marcus stands. We leave the portfolio with him. I keep the binder closed now, edges square, clasp bite strong. The lobby doors part. Outside, rain has thinned to a mist that doesn't spot a suit. We step through at the same pace we use to stack the exhibits, measured, clean, no need to check behind. When the keys you carried become a seed for someone else's door, do you keep a souvenir or set the ring down and walk into clear air? If you want more stories where the right name returns to the work and the room hears it, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next move.